Picture the open ocean on a calm summer morning. The water is streaked with sunlight, glimmering like polished glass, and from above, you see what looks like a slow-moving submarine gliding just below the surface. But it's not a machine, it's a shark, massive, gray, and prehistoric, moving with that eerie grace that only sharks have. Its mouth is wide open, not just slightly ajar, wide. Like, did someone just tell it taxes went up again? Wide. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the basking shark, one of the strangest giants in the sea. At first glance, it looks like a nightmare creature, a relic that swam right out of the Jurassic era. But that gaping mouth isn't for aggression or theatrics. It's a survival tool, a living filter system that's been running flawlessly for thousands of years. Today we're going to dive deep, literally and figuratively, into why basking sharks swim with their mouths open, how they survive on microscopic snacks, and why this slow-motion marvel is one of the ocean's great contradictions. A gentle giant with the face of a monster. The mouth that never closes. Let's start with the obvious question, the one every kid asks when they first see footage of this creature. Why does it swim with its mouth open all the time? To answer that, we have to get into the biology of a filter feeder. Unlike most sharks, basking sharks don't chase, bite, or tear their food apart. Instead, they swim with their mouths wide open, letting thousands of liters of seawater flow through their gills every hour. Suspended in that water are tiny organisms called plankton, microscopic plants and animals that make up the foundation of the entire ocean food web. The shark traps them using gill rakers, long comb-like structures that act like a sieve. The water flows in, the plankton stays behind, and the shark gets a steady buffet of ocean soup. Now, to put this in perspective, a basking shark can filter up to 2,000 tons of water per hour. That's roughly 800 Olympic swimming pools an hour. And it does it without stopping. It's the ocean's version of an air purifier that just keeps running. Except this one is 8 meters long and weighs as much as a bus. This open-mouth strategy is called ram filtration. Ram, because the shark rams forward through the water to push it in. It doesn't suck in water the way a whale might. It simply opens up and lets momentum do the work. The basking shark's entire head is basically engineered around this feeding method. Its mouth can open up to 1 meter wide, and the inside of its gills expand like parachutes to maximize surface area for filtering. Evolution went all in on this design. It traded speed and stealth for efficiency and endurance. The ocean's gentle vacuum cleaner. Let's be clear. Basking sharks are not lazy, they're deliberate. Every slow, graceful movement is about maximizing intake with minimal energy. Swimming slowly with your mouth open might look goofy, but it's pure physics and biology working in harmony. Here's how it works in practice. The shark glides through a dense patch of plankton, invisible clouds of life swirling in the sunlit surface waters. As it moves, water flows into its cavernous mouth, across the gill rakers, and out through the gill slits behind the head. The plankton gets trapped, scraped off by special mucus-coated structures, and swallowed in rhythmic gulps. The shark never chews, never bites. It just filters, constantly, patiently, like a factory line that never shuts down. When plankton is abundant, usually in spring and summer, basking sharks can spend hours near the surface, cruising slowly with their dorsal fins cutting through the water like miniature sails. From above, people often mistake them for great whites, which has led to countless sea monster reports over the years. But basking sharks couldn't be more different. They have no interest in seals, fish, or humans. Their diet is as peaceful as it gets. In fact, if the basking shark had a motto, it would be, "Work smart, not hard. Just swim and let dinner come to you." A design of evolutionary genius. Every detail of the basking shark's anatomy supports this unusual feeding style. The mouth is the showstopper, sure, but the rest of the body is just as optimized for efficiency. For starters, its gill arches are enormous, much larger than in most sharks, because they double as the filtration unit. The gill rakers, those finger-like structures, can reach over 10 centimeters long and are covered in tiny hooks and mucus that trap plankton effectively. Think of them like the fine mesh of a high-end coffee filter, except instead of espresso, they're catching the tiniest bits of ocean life. And then, there's the swimming speed. Basking sharks typically cruise at around 2 to 4 kilometers per hour, slow enough for water to pass gently through the mouth without creating turbulence that might push prey away. The shark's massive liver, which can make up 25% of its body weight, is filled with oily lipids that provide buoyancy, allowing it to float effortlessly without burning much energy. Imagine carrying your own built-in blimp inside your body so you don't have to keep swimming to stay afloat. That's efficiency on another level. Even the shape of its body, that torpedo-like silhouette with a tall dorsal fin and a crescent tail, helps it glide smoothly with minimal drag. Every stroke, every movement, has been refined by thousands of years of evolution for one purpose: to filter as much food as possible while spending as little energy as necessary. Feast, famine, and disappearing acts. But this strategy comes with a catch, a big one. The ocean's plankton levels aren't constant. They rise and fall with the seasons, depending on sunlight, temperature, and nutrients. When the water blooms with life in spring and summer, basking sharks feast. When the bloom fades, they vanish. For decades, scientists thought basking sharks hibernated in winter, simply disappearing into the deep. It wasn't until recent tracking studies that we learned they migrate, sometimes thousands of kilometers, following plankton-rich currents. Some have been tracked diving over 1,000 meters deep into cold, dark waters, possibly feeding on deep-water plankton or conserving energy until the next bloom. This seasonal movement makes them one of the most mysterious giants in the sea. They can vanish from a coastline for months or even years, then suddenly appear again in groups of dozens, mouths agape, cruising in slow motion like a convoy of underwater zeppelins. The shark that outsmarts the predator. Stereotype basking sharks completely break the mold of what we think sharks are supposed to be. They're huge, second only to the whale shark in size, but completely harmless. No teeth to speak of, no aggressive hunting, no dramatic attacks. Just a quiet, continuous relationship with the smallest creatures on Earth. It's a clever evolutionary trade. Instead of competing with fast, predatory sharks for fish and seals, the basking shark found an untapped food source, plankton, and built an entire lifestyle around it. And in doing so, it became one of the ocean's most energy-efficient animals. For a creature that can grow over 10 meters long, that's no small feat. Their behavior also reflects a kind of ancient wisdom. They conserve energy, move with the currents, and take only what nature provides in abundance. It's slow living at its finest, minimalist even. They're the introverts of the shark world, keeping to themselves, never in a rush, but still commanding respect just by showing up. A mouth made for marvels. Let's zoom back in on that mouth for a moment, because it's not just big, it's beautifully engineered. When the shark opens wide, the jaws swing out and downward, forming a vast funnel that channels water directly toward the gill rakers. The inside of the mouth is surprisingly soft, lined with pleated skin that stretches like an accordion. Those folds expand as water rushes in, preventing damage from the pressure changes as the shark moves. And while it's constantly open, the shark isn't oblivious to its surroundings. Tiny sensory organs called ampullae of Lorenzini, basically electroreceptors, cover its snout and detect faint electric signals in the water. That means even while feeding blindly in murky water, the basking shark can sense other animals or objects nearby. So despite appearances, it's not a mindless filter machine. It's aware, reactive, and precise. The gill rakers themselves deserve an entire documentary. For a long time, scientists thought basking sharks simply used them passively, like sieves. But new research suggests they might actually actively control the flow of water and plankton across them, adjusting the angle and spacing to optimize capture. It's a level of fine-tuned engineering that puts modern filter systems to shame. The cost of being a giant. Of course, being big and slow comes with its own set of problems. Basking sharks are easy targets for human exploitation. For centuries, they were hunted for their enormous livers, which yield valuable oil used in lamps, cosmetics, and even lubricants. A single shark could provide hundreds of liters of oil, which made them irresistible to 19th-century fishermen. Their populations plummeted, and even today, despite strict protections, recovery is slow. They reproduce infrequently. Females carry embryos for years before giving birth to a small number of pups, and they mature late, sometimes not breeding until they're 15 or 20 years old. That's a tough timeline when you're dealing with human greed and industrial-scale fishing. Even though they're now protected in many waters, basking sharks still face threats from ship strikes, entanglement in fishing nets, and pollution. Their open-mouth feeding makes them particularly vulnerable to microplastics, the invisible plague of modern oceans. Studies have shown that filter feeders like basking sharks and whale sharks ingest millions of plastic particles every day, mistaking them for plankton. The long-term effects are still unclear, but it's not looking good. The mystery of the winter depths. One of the coolest and creepiest things about basking sharks is what they do when they're not basking. During the colder months, they head into the deep, sometimes to depths of over a kilometer. What they do down there is still largely a mystery. Some scientists believe they enter a kind of low-energy state, slowing their metabolism and surviving off stored fat. Others think they're feeding on deep-water plankton, or even using the darkness for social or reproductive purposes. There's also evidence that they might shed their gill rakers during these deep dives, literally molting their filtration system like a snake shedding its skin. If that's true, it means they're capable of regenerating one of the most complex structures in their bodies, an adaptation that could help prevent damage from parasites or clogging. When they return to the surface months later, they appear rejuvenated, ready for another season of plankton feasting under the summer sun. It's as if the ocean itself reboots them. Social swimmers and gentle encounters. Despite their solitary reputation, basking sharks aren't antisocial. During peak feeding seasons, they can gather in groups, sometimes called shiver schools, of 20, 50, or even more individuals. These gatherings can involve synchronized swimming, circling behavior, and even slow, graceful body contact. Scientists think this may be part of courtship, or just social coordination during feeding. Divers lucky enough to encounter a basking shark describe the experience as humbling. The shark's massive size is overwhelming. Its head alone can be as big as a human, but its movements are calm, measured, unthreatening. It'll glide past, mouth agape, completely indifferent to the diver's presence. It's like watching a bus go by with no driver, yet perfectly on course. And the word basking? It comes from their tendency to linger near the surface, often in sunlight, giving the impression that they're sunbathing. But it's not about warmth, it's about food. Plankton thrives near the surface in sunlit waters, so basking sharks follow the light like giant, slow-moving solar panels. Evolution's quiet masterpiece. The beauty of the basking shark lies in its contradictions. It's a shark that doesn't bite, a predator that feeds on plankton, a giant that moves with monk-like serenity. It's evolution's reminder that survival doesn't always belong to the fastest or fiercest. Sometimes it belongs to the most efficient. Their lineage stretches back thousands of years, probably diverging from ancestral mackerel sharks. And in all that time, the design has hardly changed. Because why would it? When you've built a machine that can turn microscopic life into a 10-ton body using almost no effort, there's not much to improve. In an ocean filled with chaos, storms, predators, constant change, the basking shark is a symbol of balance. It doesn't fight the current, it moves with it. It doesn't chase, it drifts. It doesn't devour, it filters. Its open mouth isn't a sign of hunger, it's a sign of harmony. So why should we care about why basking sharks swim with their mouths open? Because that open mouth tells the story of the ocean itself. It's a portal into how energy flows through marine ecosystems, from sunlight to plankton to giants. Every gulp of water the basking shark takes is part of the planet's carbon cycle, part of how the ocean cleanses itself and keeps life running. When basking sharks feed, they help regulate plankton populations, which in turn affects oxygen production, climate regulation, and the entire web of marine life. These sharks may seem slow and passive, but their quiet filtering helps stabilize the very systems that make Earth habitable. They are, quite literally, the ocean's janitors, and without them, the balance begins to falter. At the end of the day, that constant open mouth is more than a feeding mechanism. It's a philosophy, a lifestyle built on patience, persistence, and peace with the flow of the world around you. The basking shark doesn't resist the ocean. It trusts it. It doesn't panic when food is scarce. It moves, adapts, waits. And maybe, just maybe, that's the lesson hidden behind those unblinking eyes and that cavernous smile. You don't have to fight everything. Sometimes, all you need to do is open up and let life flow through. So the next time you see footage of a basking shark gliding through blue water, mouth wide, moving like a dream, remember what you're looking at. Not a monster, not a mindless creature, but a masterclass in evolutionary balance. A gentle titan, doing what it's always done. Swimming, filtering, surviving. Not for power, not for dominance, just for the simple, beautiful purpose of being exactly what it was made to be. And that, my friends, is why the basking shark swims with its mouth open. Because in the grand design of life, sometimes the best way to thrive is to simply keep going with your mouth open, your heart steady, and your course set by the currents of the world itself. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.